I just got my very own personal Fred Krueger. Not recommended for small children. You see what I did there? Oh, snap. What's happening, geeks, and welcome to another Cosplay Chris collectible review. Now, some of you may know my latest project is that of a 1:1 scale, life-size, full-size Fred Krueger from the original Nightmare on Elm Street made back in 1984. Now, I have been a Freddy Krueger nut since I was 8 years old. And it's always been my dream eventually when I have my own pad, my own man cave, to have a life-size Fred Krueger. Because who doesn't want a homicidal dream child killer in their living room? I do! So anyway, halfway through last year, I started gathering pieces together. I got my David Miller Creations sweater. I found a fedora that suited the original screen use fedora. I've got my mannequin. I'll be doing a video on that, on how I'm customizing it. And now, the piece de resistance, the Freddy bust. My good friend Bob, who runs Scarewear Productions, has, in my opinion, made the most devilish looking Part 1 Freddy Krueger ever. And what do I mean by devilish? Well, we all know that Freddy eventually became what was known as, I guess you could say, a game show host by the 6th installment of the series. But what I'm focusing on is the original Part 1 Fred Krueger, envisioned by Wes Craven. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to say, I found him. Aren't you a pretty boy? I think he's gonna kill me. So yes, this is my latest acquisition for my life-size Freddy project. This is the bust that will be mounted on the mannequin that I'm gonna be using. Like I said, this is made by Bob at Scarewear Productions. The bust itself is obviously based off the makeup that Robert Englund wore on the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, if you're wondering why I've got a blue eye and a green eye, well, that's because these were spare. I had them lying around. I've actually got a custom pair of eyes on the way from Tech Optics. They're high-end. Tech Optics are probably the best people I've ever dealt with in terms of realistic human eyes. I know they do animatronics for film work and commercials, so I highly recommend picking up a set of eyes if you're in the market for some, and I'll provide the link below. Now, if you take a look at these photos here, this is Bob's sculpture before he eventually molded him and cast him to the final product that you see here. So as soon as I saw those photos on Facebook, I jumped on it because I had to have it, because it's everything I wanted in a Freddy bust. Just that expression, that cheekiness, that devilishness, it's all there. And the awesome thing is Bob sculpted this from the ground up. He didn't use a life caster, Robert Englund. He started completely from scratch. And from what I can tell and from what I can see, he's nailed the likeness perfectly. And for doing it freehand. Now, what's the bust made out of? It's made out of tinted resin. I'm pretty sure the resin is tinted because it just seems it's like it's got the flesh color embedded into it. It's hollow. It's been foam filled to reinforce the resin. Now, obviously my studio lights here don't really do this piece justice, so I took him outside. It was a cloudy day, so that was perfect for the lighting to light this bad boy up. So let's take a look at some video and photo footage of him outside. Now, like I said, guys, for me, this is the definitive Fred Krueger Part 1 look in terms of a sculpture. All the details are here, all those nasty open burns, all the wounds, they've all been recaptured perfectly. And they all just look disgustingly real and shiny and oozy. And you see a close-up of the teeth there, everything's just been sculpted by hand. Now, Bob did sign the back, and he does actually stamp it with his logo in the back of the bust, as you can see right there, even with the date. So this is the original Grinner #1 from his Legacy series. I can't wait to put him all together for the life-size Fred, guys. I think it's going to be the pièce de résistance. As you can see, he's got the charring marks at the top of the head. Even the eyes are able to be repositioned the way he's carved out the eye inserts. So I'm going to give this guy 5 geeks out of 5. So thanks very much for watching, guys. If you'd like to pick up an original Grinner Part 1 bust, you can check out Bob's site on Facebook, Scarewear Productions. Not only does Bob focus on Freddy Krueger busts, he also does Jason Voorhees themed things. He also does his own concept of a Ninja Turtle. So I'll hopefully have some updates with my life-size Fred in the coming weeks. Bianca and I are off to the States in 9 days, so it's the final countdown. And of course, geeks, the #1 rule, always remember,
cosplayers do it best.